Now on your fast track to 7 and happening today, a state court will hear arguments on whether or not to issue a preliminary injunction that would block North Dakota's trigger law, which bans nearly all abortions. Abortion is set to become illegal in North Dakota in 1 week. The Red River Women's Clinic is asking the court to block the law while litigation continues.
They argue that the North Dakota Constitution guarantees rights to life, liberty, safety, and happiness, all of which they say protects the right to abortion. Tonight, an anti-abortion group will be holding a rally in Moorhead. It'll be at the corner of 3rd Avenue North and 24th Street North, starting at 7 p.m. Organizers expect hundreds of people to attend. A man wanted for manslaughter now on the run in Fargo.
That's right. He is wanted in connection to a dead body that was found downtown over the weekend. Police say this guy on your screen right here, 58-year-old Roberto Garcia, is wanted for manslaughter and aggravated assault. Take a look. He's described as about 5'6", 190 pounds. If you see him, do not approach him. Call 911 right away. A 41-year-old man has been arrested in connection to a stabbing that took place Wednesday night at a South Fargo gas station. Police arrested Christopher Kane, and he is now facing charges for attempted murder and preventing arrest.
Police were called to the Exxon gas station on 13th Avenue South Wednesday night for a disturbance. When they showed up, they found the victim and Kane, who led them on a short foot chase. The victim now remains in critical condition.
10 minutes to the top of the hour. Let's get a check of your fast track forecast. And Lisa, we're tracking some intense rain today.
Yes, Southern Valley is now the area where we've been getting hit harder. So we kind of flip-flop things from yesterday morning, and you can see we've got rain on the ground on our camera here at the station in South Fargo on our tower cam, and you can expect more of this as we work our way through the morning. So a wet drive in the metro, but even heavier rain going on farther south as this rain is advancing from the northern direction and pushing southward. You can see the Northern Valley looking a lot quieter. Southern Valley, we're seeing that heavier rain stretching from Richland County back through Ransom, Sargent, the Lisbon, Oaks area, Gwinner. That's where we're getting some of our heaviest rainfall now. But that will continue to drive south, and the overall trend will be for things to slowly quiet down through the morning before more storms start popping up heading into this afternoon. So here's a look at our planner. So for Fargo, again, we're still getting some rain. You just saw a drop there on the camera dome. That's going to continue for a little while longer this morning before we kind of get this late morning, midday break in just seeing some clouds, but generally seeing drier conditions, sunshine more up north. And then this afternoon, here come those pop-up thunderstorms yet again. And just like yesterday, we have that general spin going on in the atmosphere with that low moving through. So there could be a couple of funnel clouds we'll have to keep an eye out for. Otherwise, I'm not expecting severe weather. Lightning, though, we'll have to watch out for today. High temperature of about 70 degrees. So kind of a gloomy Friday again, especially in the Southern Valley. We're looking at another ½ inch or so of rain in some spots. This is in the green areas where we're seeing that. So you can see it's more likely in the south, but a couple of places that get that heavier thunderstorm could see it through tonight. Once that clears out, we're looking at much better weather for the weekend. Tomorrow morning, we'll start off with a little bit of fog to start off your Saturday, and then sunshine returns. Temperatures in the 70s and more sunshine on the way for Sunday. A nice chance to kind of dry things out and let maybe some of that standing water that's in your yard soak in a little bit here. And just in time for the weekend, we get to enjoy that sunshine as well.
You know, I was thinking this rain is not an optimal time to be out waiting for the bus.
No, and you know, we do have more chances for rain coming up next week, which I know a lot more students are going back to school next week. So find those rain gear items like galoshes and your raincoats. You're going to need them potentially next week.
Yeah, good morning. All right, Lisa, thank you this morning.
And speaking of waiting for the bus, might be a thing of the past for some Moorhead students.
Now, that's because of a new policy. Students who live a certain distance from schools won't be able to get a ride to or from the building. In the Valley, today's Jillian Trudeau joins us live with why that decision was made and what it means for kids. Good morning, Jillian.
Good morning, guys. Yes, imagine students walking to school right now in these conditions. It'd be quite a wet one. So I'm inside of Horizon Middle School, thankfully, one of the schools that in the Moorhead district that is going to be affected by these transportation changes. So some things that families in Moorhead should be aware of going into this next school year is that the families within 2 miles of Horizon Middle School or Moorhead High School will not have buses available to them. Along with families living in a 1-mile radius of a Moorhead Elementary School, they also won't have busing, and the number of students on some buses will increase from 55 kids to more than 70 children. Rural Moorhead High School bus routes will be combined, which result in longer bus rides. And private school families living within 2 miles of the school will also not receive busing because the routes will be combined with public school routes. So with more students walking to school now, the district is working with the city to ensure safe crosswalks. They actually just put in their pedestrian paint the other day. And if you haven't gotten a notice that the buses aren't available for you and you're living inside that 2-mile radius, you will be notified by today. Moorhead District also says in a press release that this is a temporary problem and they're hopefully wanting to be back up when they have more bus drivers.
A lot of information there.
A lot, and a lot of students that are students and families that will be impacted and have their days changed now. Jillian Trudeau reporting live in Moorhead. Thank you. And speaking of schools, the Pledge of Allegiance will once again be said before Fargo School Board meetings after an 8-to-1 vote at a special meeting last night.
This comes roughly a week after a separate vote not to say it was met with national backlash. They only started saying the pledge back in April, but after the decision on the 9th, board members say they received hundreds of messages and voicemails, many from out of the area, even threatening them. One board member has now filed a police report.
And some of the board members say they believe that local people supported the decision to not say the pledge, but they're worried about all the negative attention that the decision drew. Now that decision was again 8-to-1 with board member Nyamal Day as the only one voting against it.
Now this just involves the pledge at meetings. The pledge has and will continue to be said in school. Staffing shortages continue to be a problem here in the Fargo area, but in an effort to help, Fargo Public Schools is working with a placement agency.
It's called TeachQuest USA, and Fargo Public Schools looks to hire 10 special education teachers through a visa process. School leaders say all 10 are from the Philippines, and they're expected to join for the upcoming school year. Those teachers are finalizing their paperwork now to obtain their visas, and they are working to get the needed licenses as well. The superintendent in Valley City, North Dakota, says that ever since the drama unfolded with the Fargo School Board that gained national attention, their phones have now been ringing constantly.
He's assuring people that they do say the pledge before those meetings.
To reassure people that yes, that practice is going to continue. We've been doing that for 6 years, and again believe that it's a foundation. It's an opportunity for us as a school district, as leaders, to be able to unite, to bring people together.
Now, earlier this week, Valley News Live reached out to 25 other local schools about whether or not they say the pledge before those board meetings.
Now, 9 of those districts got back to us. Of those 9, 7 say they do say the pledge, though most have only started doing so in the last few years. 2 of them do not. However, one of them is considering adding it now to the agenda after what happened with the Fargo School Board. A Florida judge has ruled that portions of the affidavit used to search former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home can be unsealed. Magistrate Judge Bruce Reinhart ruled that the government has exactly 1 week to file proposed redactions before he decides on the release.
The Department of Justice has argued that unsealing the affidavit could compromise their ongoing investigation. 11 sets of classified documents, some even labeled top secret, were seized from the property earlier this month. Longtime Trump Organization CFO Allen Weisselberg has pleaded guilty to tax evasion charges in exchange for a 5-month jail sentence. He admitted failing to report nearly $2 million in free rent and other perks provided by the company to the IRS.
And now this plea agreement requires Weisselberg to testify for the prosecution in a related case involving the former president's company.
Unemployment in the U.S. is decreasing. According to the latest numbers, there were less than 250,000 initial unemployment claims in the week ending on August 13th. That's down 2,000 from the week before. The 4-week moving average of initial unemployment claims is now down a total of 2,750. And our consumer alert this morning, if you have an Apple device, make sure it is updated.
Yeah, the tech giant is making that recommendation after finding the operating system is vulnerable, and they say it might be actively exploited. Now, the vulnerabilities will give hackers the ability to take control of your device and potentially infiltrate the device even.
Affected products include iPhones dating back to the 6S model, multiple iPad models, and the 7th generation iPod Touch. It also extends to Mac computers running Monterey OS and Apple's Safari browser.
Yeah, I had a notification on my phone saying to update it, so make sure you're going into the settings if you don't have it automatically set up as well.
And if you're like me and never pay attention to anything like this, just put it on automatic, folks.
Yeah.
Well, it's not something you see every day at your mall. This poor woman, an elderly woman, drove her SUV onto the second floor of this shopping center. Officers in Massachusetts responded to help the woman who was driving this car you see there. What's interesting is how the car came to be in the mall in the first place.
Yeah, now officers say that the woman drove over a pedestrian bridge from a parking garage, and that opened the automatic doors. You know, the ones that you walk through when you go to the mall? Yeah, a car opens it too. And then she got into the mall and apparently was doing a little shopping. No one was injured in all of this, though, so no one was hurt. Just
everyone's okay.
A bizarre situation to see as you're having your Saturday at the mall or whatever it was.
Directions are hard sometimes. Everybody.
Well, Google Maps told me to do it, so I'm just following the
I'm
directions.
just following my GPS.
Anyway,
That is something I would do.
Yeah, thanks for joining us today. Have a good weekend.